Cognitive errors in decision making. Now I made a special video about the process of decision making. You might see a black pop on the upwards part of your screen, which you can click and want to watch the video, or I will give you the video, the video which pops up in the end of the video, right? I'll give you that video in there as well, or you can just open the description right now and in the bottom you'll see it. Now, cognitive errors in decision making. Now we know that decision making is a process, but there are errors as well. We as humans are not perfect. We make mistakes, and there are errors which we experience or we make while decision making. Now let's see what those cognitive errors are in decision making. Cognitive. Now let's see the introduction. Cognitive errors in decision making. As discussed in the previous unit, perception or brain. So perception is a unit. I actually made the special playlist of perception, complete perception. The name of that playlist is complete perception. I'll give you that in the description as well. You might see a black pop-up, or maybe I'll give you in the bottom description as well with the video of decision making. You can watch that. In that playlist there are all 11 videos, all videos about perception. You will have a complete idea of perception. Our brain receives countless information from the environment every single second. So according to the previous unit perception we saw, it says our brain it receives countless information from the environment every single second, leading to tremendous cognitive load on mental processes. Studies have suggested that in order to manage this load, we use mental formulas. So, as the perception says, our brain receives countless information from the environment every single second, and this leads to tremendous cognitive load on mental processes. So, in order to manage this load, we use mental formulas. On one hand, these formulas help us to make decision quickly, but on the other hand, it also leads to incorrect solutions as well, conclusions as well. The following read will help you to understand the factors responsible for the incorrect decision. Broadly, these are two sources of cognitive errors: heuristics and biases. Now, let's see heuristics. Heuristics. It is a mental shortcut that helps us to take decision quickly by decreasing cognitive load. Even though these heuristics are very helpful in making an everyday decision, but it is always not a flawless process. So it is very helpful to make everyday decision, but it is not perfect. It is not a flawless process. There will be mistakes happening. Sometimes it leads to an incorrect decision. Following are some major types of heuristics, mental shortcuts. Now, heuristics is divided into a few topics as well. This is the first one, representative heuristic. We use this shortcut when we have to make a judgment about probability. It helps us in deciding whether a stimulus belongs to a particular category or not, based on the degree of similarities in their categories. Now, the second point kind of explains this topic. The second point says that this heuristic, it helps us to decide whether a stimulus belongs to a particular category or not, and how it decides that based on the degree of similarities in their categories. Now, availability heuristics. Availability heuristic. The availability heuristic suggests that the ease with which an instant can be recalled or available to our mind is considered as more prevalent. Now let's read it again. The availability heuristic. Now this heuristic, it suggests that the ease with which an instance can be recalled or available to our mind. So it is saying the any instance which can be recalled easily, or which can be recalled with ease or available in our mind with ease, is considered as more prevalent. Thus, this heuristic judges the importance of an event based on its frequency of availability to our mind. So, thus, the conclusion is that this heuristic judges the importance of an event. So, it judges the importance of an event based on its frequency of availability to our mind. So, the event. So, this heuristic, it judges the importance of a particular event, which on the basis of its frequency of how much that event is in our mind right now, how the availability, the amount of the frequency or the amount of availability that event holds in our mind or has in our mind. Framing effects. Our tendency to interpret the same message differently depending upon how it has been presented or framed. So this framing effect says that it is our tendency to interpret the same message differently depending upon how it has been presented or framed. Let's read it again. So this is saying that our tendency to interpret the same message differently depending upon how it has been presented or framed. So this is saying that this is our tendency to interpret a same message differently upon how it has been presented or framed. So any message which is the way it is presented or framed, it is our tendency to interpret a same message differently on the basis of how it is presented or framed. You have to remember that. Anchoring and adjusting heuristic. According to this heuristic, to take a decision, we start with a reference point which acts like an anchor, and then we evaluate and adjust our decision with new information. Now, according to this heuristic, let's read it again. To take a decision, we start with a reference point. We start with a reference point which acts like an anchor. Now, anchoring and adjusting heuristic. The name, you have to remember the name, and you will remember the definition, or maybe this topic as well. Reference point which acts like an anchor. So in order to take a decision, we need a we start with a reference point. So in order to take a decision, what do we start with? Reference point. So you have to remember three things: decision, start, reference point. So you now already remember, to order to take this decision, we start with a reference point. This reference point acts as an anchor, and then we evaluate and adjust our decision with new information. Now any new information we get, we evaluate and adjust our decision with the new information. So now what happened? We did anchoring and adjusting. This is what anchoring and adjusting heuristic is. Biases. Now let's see biases. Now we saw heuristics. That was all heuristics was about. Now biases. In this section, we'll discuss some common biases that frequently occur while making decisions. So the first one, illusionary correlation. In statics, correlation implies that two variables have a statistically significant relationship. Thus, illusionary correlation refers to the situation in which we unrealistically consider a significant relationship between two variables. For instance, judging someone from prevalent stereotypes. Second point is important, we should read it again. Thus, illusionary correlation refers to the situation in which, so this illusionary correlation or this bias, it refers to the situation in which we unrealistically consider a significant relationship between two variables. This is what you have to remember. This is what this bias is trying to say. That This bias refers to the situation in which we unrealistically consider a significant relationship between two variables. For instance, judging someone from prevalent stereotypes. Overconfidence. Decision makers have a tendency to overestimate their skills and ability, thus leading to poor judgment. Why we tend to be overconfident in our decision? Because we tend to ignore our previous actual performance and do not want to be judged as wrong. And that's quite normal, which happens to a lot of people. Overconfidence, we actually hear this word overconfidence a lot. You can read this out. Hindsight bias, also known as knew it all along. Knew it all along is also something you always hear many times. People say that, oh, okay, something happened, and some people are there standing and you are in maybe shock, or you're in, oh, okay, this happened and all. But there is someone who say that, oh, I knew it all along already. So also known as, now hindsight bias is also known as knew it all along effect. Hindsight bias occurs with retrospectively thinking about a problem situation. People claim that they know beforehand about the outcome of the problem situation in the past. They already, so Hindsight bias occurs when retrospectively thinking about a problem situation. People claim that they know beforehand about the outcome of the problem situation in the past. Confirmation bias. This is the tendency to search only for information that will confirm one's initial hunch or hypothesis, and to overlook or ignore other information. Now, this is the tendency. You have to remember the first few lines. What is confirmation bias? Is that this is the tendency to search only for information that will confirm one's initial hunch or hypothesis. So this is a tendency to search only for a particular information, for information that only that information which will confirm one's initial hypothesis or hunch, you can call it, and to overlook or ignore other information which does not confirm one's initial hypothesis or hunch. You ignore that information and you just focus on information that will confirm one's initial hypothesis or hunch. Galati 2015, you have to remember the name and year. And that is it for this video. That was all about bias, and we discussed about heuristic as well. I'll give you some time to take the screenshot. Okay, and that is it for this video. And actually I thought I would make two videos out of this, but I just thought I would just explain it all in one video. I thought I would make a video about the introduction as we saw in the first slide and heuristic in this video, and I thought I would make a special video about bias, but I thought it would be better to just make a complete video about this topic and complete it once and for all. Now tomorrow we'll be talking about another topic, and as I always say, you subscribe to the channel and on the bell icon so you don't miss out the video I'll be uploading tomorrow. And also, if you love the video, like the video as well. I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Until then, if you want to leave a like, you can leave a like.